Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show from the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. Avs taking on the Red Wings for the second game in a row, this time on home ice, which, I mean, let's be honest, we would all just take a repeat of last game, right?
Wipe
Every
my
time.
hands, be done with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Easy,
Awesome.
5-0, be done, throw it in the bin. Something tells me it's not going to be that easy, though, right?
Not according to the vibe in the locker room. Like that's, you ask Kale, you ask head coaches, anybody in that locker room is going to sit there and tell you that after the game that they put on a couple days ago, this one's going to be it. The word playoff vibe was used to, it's going to be, you're going to get more compete, especially out of a team like Detroit that knows what to expect, not only with a depleted Colorado team, but with a Colorado team that has Devon Taves back. So
Does help.
Does.
I mean, if you have any pride at all, you got to come out and give a better effort than what Detroit gave on Saturday. And, you know, I think there was some chippiness at times late in that game that potentially bleeds its way into this one. But you can't expect to roll. It certainly would be nice, especially at home. You'd like to see the Avs really capitalize here ahead of the Olympic break, you know, go out with a couple of wins, get that vibe feeling right at home again. But you're playing a professional hockey team, so I would expect a lot more competitive matchup in this one.
I think it's a reasonable expectation. Hopefully the Avs can get on top of it. And as Bailey mentioned, that starts with the Common Spirit injury report. Common Spirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos. Devon Taves back in the lineup today after missing 13 games.
Yes.
Will be playing next to Cale Makar. Hopefully we see that defense look more like itself, I guess is the way that I would put it. And then the other news, Marty Necas is day-to-day expected to play on the Wednesday, the last game before the break. So he's fine, but not in for this game. The other stuff remains the same. Landy not expected to play on Wednesday, but is expected to be okay for the Olympics. So
It's promising when you can start slowly ticking these little injury things off.
Yep.
Slowly but surely. It's one of the things Bednar mentioned this morning is if you're going to get any sort of add back, like the slow and sure way, like it's nice to see that health start coming back for the Avs. And as we've already mentioned, that starts with a guy like Devon Taves, who you've seen has been a huge key guy for the defensive side of the puck for this team. You've seen a lot of struggling, especially through this January stretch where defense starts to crumble a little bit, and they could not say enough good things in that locker room about what a guy like Devon Taves brings to the ice and what they've missed having him gone.
I'm not sure outside of Nate or Kale, there's a single more important piece for the Avs playing their brand of hockey than Devon Taves being out on the lineup, because it's just his two-way impact is just so significant that you're going to feel it when a guy like him is not out there. And I just think it's big for him to be back, especially ahead of the Olympic break, because then you get a couple of games under your belt, and now all of a sudden it's not a situation where it's like, man, we haven't played with this guy in 2 full months. Like that starts getting a little bit challenging from a continuity standpoint.
it's interesting how much, obviously Devon Taves in your lineup, just having him as a player makes the Colorado Avalanche better. But how much more you expect out of everyone else in the lineup because Taves coming back in is significant. Whether that be wanting to see a Kale go superhuman again or just putting someone like Sam Malinsky back in a spot where he's supposed to be in your lineup, it's hard to really quantify how much of a difference that makes.
I do think that role piece is very interesting, especially when you bring up J-Mike taking some of the superstars out of it, like a Nathan MacKinnon and a Cale Makar. But not only do you have Devon Taves missing from that area of things. But you're talking about a Gabe Landeskog who is not, going to get on the board every single night. But when you're talking about playing a specific brand of hockey and bringing something very specific that not many other guys bring to the lineup, like you're missing the two key guys in that situation. An emotional guy who's going to stick up for everybody in a Gabe Landeskog. And then Devon Toews. Again, we've talked about the impact that he has defensively. Jared Bednar went as far as calling him a superstar or one of the best players in the league. And when you talk,
a little generous, but
maybe,
sure.
But like when you talk about specific roles and you talk about what he brings to a team, like I think there is some validity there to be argued.
His consistency night to night is just so big too. You know exactly what you're getting when Devon Toews is out there, whereas we've seen some of these other guys step up, and credit to people like Sam Malinsky. He earned that contract, but when you're putting everybody in a position where they're maybe just slightly out of their comfort zone, like you feel that across the board. And I just think from a stability standpoint, being able to get back to what this team does, and especially again ahead of the Olympic break and just getting those reps, I'm excited about it. I think this is a major moment for the Avs, and hopefully this kind of allows them to get back to, beating the living hell out of everyone, which was a lot more fun than the last couple of weeks. Turns out it's a lot more fun to just beat the shit out of your opponent than playing grinded out hockey.
It turns out it's a lot more fun only winning one or only losing one or time in regulation in a month. That's exciting.
We're spoiled. I tasted caviar. I'm not going back. I'm accustomed to a certain level of living now, and the Avs over.
Experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org. We can get into the team cards here, and they're exactly the same as last game because it's the same two teams, but it still remains that there's a pretty interesting divide with some of the teams towards the top of the East, like a Detroit, to some of the teams at the top of the West, like the Avs, Dallas, like Minnesota. There's a lot of teams that are maybe performing above expected in the East, like a Detroit. Mm-hmm. They don't really score effectively because they are horrible at shooting. And then they don't really defend particularly effectively, but they're getting away with it because of reasonably good goaltending. When you look at a team like this, I know you guys are talking about a playoff atmosphere, but frankly, in a playoff atmosphere, this should be a team the Avs are looking to sweep in a series, right? And you have the opportunity to do that in a 2-game series of the regular season here.
It really, I think, for me, all depends on what kind of version they're getting of John Gibson tonight, too. Like, that's going to be huge. One of the big things Todd McClellan talked about in his presser this morning was the lack of execution, the lack of finishing. It's not as though Detroit didn't have good chances that they created on Saturday, too. And I think that's a big key here. They're taking advantage of some of those mistakes the Avs are making heading and breaking into the offensive zone. But being able to execute on some of that when you're getting a prime Mackenzie Blackwood, who we're expecting is starting tonight, like you're looking to finally break through that. You haven't been able to do it for 60 minutes of hockey, and now you've got to go a full 60 trying to do that again. Not just that, and I think, again, we're going to see some of that jump out of a team like Detroit, but you're also looking at an Avs team that's riding off momentum, too. They know they can expect that kind of goaltending out of a Mackenzie Blackwood, but they have reinforcements coming in, and you get a guy like Nathan MacKinnon finally back on the board. You've got Ross Colton performing the way that he does, Parker Kelly performing the way that he does. If you continue to create those chances and can execute, it's going to be an easy job for the Avs.
Feels like it's a good first round type warm up. I think calling it a playoff type atmosphere, although I like that the Avs are going into this not overlooking Detroit, going, fully respecting them. Kind of like what Rudo's saying. You're so significantly better than this team. And we do see teams sneak into the playoffs who, win a lot of these games that they maybe aren't necessarily playing their best hockey, but you just get really good goaltending. Like, you can win that way, but it's hard to sustain it. And especially against a team like the Avalanche, like we saw on Saturday, sometimes they're just really good. Like the Avs, the way they were able to finish in that game, it's really overwhelming for an opponent. And I'd like to see them build off of it and kind of come out and establish an early lead, because I just feel like if you get one or two past Gibson early, it kind of sets in of like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. I think for me too, when looking at this, one of the comments that I remember making on Saturday was like, teams are allowed to be bad against the Avalanche. A lot of times we're seeing the best on best situation. I think we start to see a little bit more of that from Detroit here tonight, because it for sure was not there on Saturday. You're talking about, maybe getting bailed out by good goaltending from a guy like Jordan Gibson, who, again, Todd McClellan had very high praise for this morning. But if you're getting that top version of John Gibson and you're looking for this top talent that the Avs have come to expect out of their opponents, like, it's not going to be an easy one.
When you look at what Colorado's done this year, and you look at teams like Detroit, which are scrappy, like, I know their numbers don't look great, but they are, for most teams, a hard out. Not Colorado the other day. But that's part of the conversation. A team like Detroit wins games by hanging around, keeping themselves in games, and finding that one extra play. Maybe you push it to overtime. Maybe that gets you the win. When Colorado plays with the lead in the third period, they literally don't lose.
That's why it's so big for them to not have those slow starts.
Yep.
Like, the Avs are an overwhelming team when they get off to a quick start. I mean, they're an overwhelming team if they just played C+ hockey, but I feel like this is an opportunity here to kind of flex your muscle. You just beat the hell out of this team. You didn't even have Devon Toews in the lineup. Now you got Taser back. You got these 2 home games before the Olympic break. Like, capitalize on it. Let's see the Avs come out and play their full brand of hockey.
Yep.
Would be nice to see. We also got a full, proper interview, presser, whatever you want to call it, with Jared Bednar for the first time in what feels like a month. So let's hear what Coach Bednar had to say about Detroit and Colorado.
Questions for head coach Jared Bednar? Brian, go ahead.
There was an article that came out, I believe this morning, from The Athletic that John Cooper picked your brain on how to best deploy Nate and Cale at the Olympics. My question for you is, were you ever asked to be on Team Canada on the staff at any point?
No.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Devon Toews back in tonight?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that said, just kind of talking about what has been missing from him being out and what him coming back to the team obviously means.
Well, I mean, it's a lot. I think you have, like, one of the best defensemen in the world, or you have a guy that you're calling up from the American League. So a significant amount of depth goes out of your lineup, and a guy that's elite in a bunch of different situations with your club, including special teams. So, yeah, it's a big add to get back in the lineup. Glad to see our team starting to get healthy.
Jesse.
You guys are getting Taves back. While he was out, Sam Malinsky played a lot of those minutes. He gets rewarded with the contract. Just what can you say about what he did over this stretch and what he kind of showed he's capable of in his game right now?
Yeah, I don't think it's just over this stretch, but the difference of this stretch is he played the left side against top lines in the league and did a really nice job. There was no no fall off in his game at all, right? So he's played first pair, second pair, third pair now. Playing the left side early in the year didn't go real well, and now he's playing it with Cale, and everything seems like his game is equally as solid as it was when he was on the right side. So he's made the adjustment over there second time around, and so it's a great addition to, like, the way we can deploy guys, and the fact that he was able to be solid against other teams' top 6 players while playing the left side, I think is some really good information.
Arif, then Bailey.
I'm sure you're not online Googling this stuff like we are, but like your teams in your 9 years here have had the most success against the Detroit Red Wings versus any other franchise. Like, you guys are nearly perfect against them.
Okay.
Like, how do you explain that? Like, Utah always plays you guys well. Arizona used to play you guys well. The teams change every year. Like, how do you? What's your explanation?
I can't. Yeah, I can't. It's weird because you'll play teams that will have your like Utah, they play us extremely hard. Nashville's played us really hard this year. for a team that's not that high in the standings. You know, like they'll go lose a handful of games in a row, come in playoffs, and we're like, man, looks like a playoff team, you know. But I can't explain it. I think some teams just match up good against other teams. I think it's, I don't know if it's like individual, like players that like playing in other buildings, or a group of them, or whatever it is, or against certain teams that they're not intimidated by, whatever it is. It's hard to like pick one thing that kind of makes that difference.
Bailey, go ahead.
With as much time as a Devon Toews has missed, what advantage, if any, does it provide a player like him to be able to watch the game from a bird's eye view and being able to kind of analyze?
I think for some players it's advantageous. For Devon, probably nothing, except getting a rest. I mean, he's an intelligent player, right? I don't think Devon's like sitting up there and learning anything from watching us play. You know, like he'll take in information, and he has some good notes as to, you know, what he sees, that like what's some of the things that are ailing us right now. What do we look good at? Like, you know, he can pick up on all that, but it's not like he wouldn't pick that up playing.
Corey, and then Troy.
Is there an update on Martin Etches?
Yeah, day to day, skated this morning, felt okay. He'll miss tonight. Hoping to get him back for Wednesday. So he's just, you know, he's got an aggravation, lower body injury that's like kind of been bugging him for a little bit, and yeah, so when he gives us the okay, he's back in, but we're hoping it could be Wednesday. He'll skate again tomorrow, and then he'll skate pregame, and then we'll make a decision.
And then is Gabe, is he going to play on Wednesday? And then I guess for both of those guys, is the Olympics in jeopardy for either of them?
No, I don't think it is, no. I don't know, like I would say it's unlikely Gabe plays Wednesday. He's pushing the timeline pretty tight, right? And then, so after Wednesday, I think it's still like another week before those games in the Olympics, and there's some practices in there. He's obviously skated again today, skated with the group again today, doing more and more in the gym and feeling really good. Generally, like if they were playing games on Friday already, it'd be like, well, maybe we should get him in a game to make sure he's good to go. With the amount of time before they actually start playing competitive games over there, I think it's probably one of those where you're like, if you're not ready on Wednesday, you can still be ready to start the Olympics.
Okay, finish with Troy.
Regarding the Olympics, I mean, a lot of people that watch hockey don't watch it regularly because it's the Olympics. You look forward to them seeing Cale and Nate together, those guys together, and what can that mean for that group? Can the Four Nations thing also create a comfort level that maybe typically you don't see in an Olympic year because they just did it a year ago? These guys kind of were together.
Yeah, I think I mean, whenever you can draw in new fans to the game and then they're seeing the world's best compete against one another, I think that's positive, right? When it comes to like the Four Nations prep, for those, I think for the teams that were a part of it, I think that's advantageous for the group going into the Olympics. Doesn't make it any easier when you get there, but I think at least kind of gives the coaching staff, the players a familiarity and probably gel quicker as a group this time around than they would have the first time when everyone's kind of feeling each other out. They should be able to get in there and get right to business and feel comfortable with one another and go about what they need to do to try and win.
There'll be so much pressure or talk about Cale and Nate because they've kind of done everything else in their career. They haven't had this opportunity. What about them makes you think they can handle kind of the gravity of the moment of representing a country that's a favorite?
The easy answer is everything about them. I don't know, like it's just kind of who they are and what a big time players, superstars in the league, that's what drives them having success. And like those guys don't shy away from the moment, right? Like they want to be a big part of it and they want to be difference makers, and they're out there to compete to win, and they're playing to win on a nightly basis here, and they'll continue that there. The bigger the stakes, the better they are.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, thank you.
I wish I could be as serious as him. Like, never once in his life has he had a moment where he cracks in a press. Even when he's mad or super happy, it's all business. Yep. And I sit here losing my mind on the show every other week. So.
He'd be a really good politician. That guy is calm, cool, and collected. Just the heart of battle. That's That's who you want addressing the people post tragedy.
Yeah. Get the laughs where you need them out of your
Bring some
your
levity.
audience. Like,
Doesn't
it's-
hurt that he's such a handsome dude, you
That
know?
does
Like
help.
it's just
Does
a
help.
calming presence altogether.
Moving on from that, though, I know it feels a little bit in the rearview mirror. You didn't have the greatest road trip of all time either, even if you did beat Detroit. Back at home, do you get a little bit of a reset here? Do you wash away what has been the last handful of games and kind of start fresh here?
I think we're going to find out, right?
One way or another.
Hindsight's
I mean-
2020.
Ideally, yes. Ideally, the Avs are borderline unbeatable at home.
Yep.
But we saw some cracks in the armor over that last home stand. It still, from a point standpoint, ended up being fine, but it was a little underwhelming. And so I do think that this stretch matters, especially because you no longer have the, for a while when the Avs were struggling there, you could say, yeah, they dropped that one, but Dallas keeps losing too. Minnesota's losing.
True.
That's not the case anymore. You don't have that slack anymore. So I think deceptively, this is one of the more important 2-game stretches of the schedule. Just get a little bit of positive momentum at home, get the vibes feeling good going into the Olympics. Is it going to kill the season if you drop both of these games? No. But it would be nice.
Yeah.
I think it's huge for some of the confidence guys that have really seen some success on the board here recently. I brought up Ross Colton. I brought up Parker Kelly. I think it's more important for guys like them than it really is for maybe guys like Nathan MacKinnon, like Cale Makar, who they're not going to see much of a break. Like, yes, you've got some time between now and the first game in the Olympics, but for the most part, like, you've got the opportunity and some of that momentum to go and prove it on a national stage, whereas some of these guys are really going to be looking at these last 2 games or the last 5 games or however long it may be, saying it when they come back from the break, saying, hey, I'm capable of this. Like, I know I can perform. I've been finding a groove. What was working for me then that I can carry out of the break?
And, just the human nature of not playing for a couple weeks at a time. It's nice to be able to look back on it and say, well, the last time I was on the ice, look
Pretty
at the
good,
results
yeah.
instead of like, man, I have been just chomping at the bit for 3 weeks to get this bad taste out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have kind of already dove into this with, scoring first or keeping guys rolling confidence-wise, but how do the Avs continue to make their lives easier? Because you see that game against Detroit the other day. You made your life super easy by scoring first, by making extending your leads, by not giving up too much crazy stuff. Is this a not so thinly veiled do better on the power play question more than anything else?
Setting me up. I think the first step for a situation like this that you start seeing them solve during this Detroit game is shots on net. Putting up not only the volume, but being able to put up those high danger chances. That's how you're going to crack a guy like John Gibson, who maybe he's the one bailing Detroit out of a lot of these situations. Not the case for the last game, but if that's the trend for most of this season for Detroit, do it again. That's where it starts. That and making sure that you're giving, not just helping out a Mackenzie Blackwood on the back end too, but making sure you're not making Devon Taves' life too hard. I wonder how much of that managing time we're going to see for a guy like him tonight. And in that, you've got your top defensive guy back in the lineup, but that doesn't give the rest of the blue line a chance to slack off. Like, you still have to be solid in your chances in helping out Mackenzie Blackwood on the back end too.
Yep.
I mean, I'd like to see a little bit of uptick in scoring production from the second line, not named Brock Nelson.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
I think that'd
that
be
would help.
deceptively pretty big just in terms of increasing the margins with this team.
Val, please.
Most certainly. Yes, that's who I was thinking of specifically. But I also think it's kind of an interesting time to see the power play in a scenario where you don't have Nate and Marty out there at the same time.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if it looks really effective, it brings you to the question of, are we sure these guys shouldn't continue to be split up out of the break? I mean, there's a decent sample size at this point that says it should happen.
Didn't look bad
No, it
against
didn't.
Detroit
It
last
really
game.
didn't. And that's where
that's the exact situation you saw. I mean,
that's like one of the things I'm most interested in tonight. Does it look like it looked on Saturday?
True.
And if it does, then I think you have a real conversation there. Because I just think both those players, they need the space, and I don't know if they're effective together out there.
Also, if it looks like it did on Saturday again and you don't score again, is it actually cursed?
Then you might legitimately have to start looking into creative, like, do we sacrifice a chicken?
How many shamans do you know?
we can get the candles out, create a circle.
So
It's fine.
Pray to whatever gods you believe in. Can we get Tom Cruise in the building? I don't know. Whatever weirdness we have to lean into to get the power play going, I'm shameless. I'll do it. I'll be a Scientologist if that means the Avs win the cup and the PK gets going. I don't think they would have me because I don't qualify for their tax brackets. They're like, we're not even going to run the background check. But
we're good.
Something's got to give. Something's got to give at some point. Yeah, we've had some complaints about you.
It's like they see you coming down the sidewalk, and that's when they just shut the door.
Hide your money. There's poor people around.
You said hockey, and we just assumed you were rich, so like that's why we showed up. But Bailey, you mentioned it. Another topic I wanted to get into here. Last 3 games, the Avs have failed to hit 30 total shots on goals in any of them. Now, the Detroit one is because they scored on everything and kicked it into cruise control, but we know the Avalanche are, when at their best, a high-volume shooting team. Is Detroit a good enough team to slow the Avs down, or can the Avs pump those numbers up a little bit?
I think if you're looking at trending upwards and you're getting at least, again, something trending upward with a situation like Nathan MacKinnon and kind of getting back on the score sheet, running that top line. If you can get Brent Burns operating at a, something that suffices for this team, I think that's easily something to expect out of tonight. I don't think, even with the compete you're going to get out of Detroit trying to come back and do the same thing to the Avs that they did on their home ice. They're like, yes, the compete is going to be there, but at the same time, you've got an Avs team that's starting to kind of find their way when you put them into new situations and resets, and they've got that home base fueling them now, which you're looking for any more fuel after losing 5-0 to the Colorado Avalanche. This is like the worst possible situation to be in. So I think it's not something it's expected that should be the version of the Avs you get if you can crack John Gibson early. Make sure you're doing what you need to do to get past a Mo Sider and shutting down everything else. That's the expectation here tonight.
I mean, what do you think, Rudo? Because I'm almost, yes, I guess ideally they would be north of that number on most nights, but for me, I'm less worried about 30 for the game and more like, can you be at 10 plus after the first? Like, I don't want it to be a situation where you're halfway through the game and you're at single digit shots. Like, that almost matters to me more than the total. Like, because if you just score early and you go into cruise control, it is what it is. But I do think when you have those stretches where it's the end of the first period and the Avs have 3 shots on goal and you're like, oh, it's one of those nights.
Yeah, it's more about playing a level, consistent game, right? You take 5 shots and you score on all 5. I don't care how many shots you have. But over long stretches, over multiple hockey games, you understand that you're not going to shoot even 30%, even 20%. If you're shooting 15%, you're the best shooting team in the NHL by a lot. So
can't score if you don't shoot.
Right. When the puck goes in, awesome. If you get up by 3 and you want to kick it into cruise control, as long as you take care of business, I do not care. But you're going to get into some scrappy games. You're going to have some games that are close. And I don't even know necessarily if it's about the shots on goal, but maybe more about the possession. And we use shot attempts as a possession metric heavily, but there are other ways to possess the puck effectively. And especially over these last handful of games, I think it's fair to want to see the Avs spend more time in the offensive zone.
Yeah. I mean, that at the end of the day, you look at, yes, you want to put those shots on goal. You want to spend more time in the offensive zone. That starts with shutting things down in the neutral zone and playing an effective game in that 2/3 of the ice too, making sure you're staying sound against or in front of Mackenzie Blackwood. And
that's where having a
trapping.
Taves is so big, though,
Yeah.
right?
No, if you can, because you've got Taves protecting the blue line down there, so do your job in the neutral zone, be able to push forward and allow Nathan MacKinnon or Jack Drury, if he's going up and making a play, or whatever, whoever it might be, whichever line you're deploying, starts with shutting things down in the neutral zone.
I'd say even the defensive zone. We've seen the Avs struggles with getting out of their own zone has often led to some of the problems they've had over the last stretch of games. So go north, not south. We are winding down here, so let's get to the crystal ball. Bust it out. Make a prediction. Who's going to score? Who's going to get the final score? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Score. Name. What's going to happen in this game?
I was a little more conservative with my score prediction last time, but the Avs have given me faith to go a little wayward today.
Let's go.
Give me 4-1.
Okay.
And this might be a little ambitious, but Ross Colton did it in his return. I'm taking a Devon Taves goal tonight.
I like it.
It's funny. Sometimes, like, obviously you never want to see anyone get hurt, but especially when you're having the offensive season like Devon has had where he's struggling a little bit, sometimes some time away can fix that.
Yep.
I'm going to say 3-1, but a fairly dominant effort where you don't sweat too much. And maybe I'm just trying to will it into existence, but give me a Nichushkin goal.
Okay.
I would like an Nichushkin goal and a Taves goal. Yeah. I like both of those. Okay, let's see. The last time Detroit won a cup was 2009. So that would be 17 years ago. So 17-2.
I love it.
Multiple hat tricks.
Yeah.
The entire
Double Gordie
Avs top
Howe.
line
Josh
gets a
Manson
hat
finally
trick.
gets it.
There's 8 fights because Detroit got embarrassed.
Somehow Peter Forsberg scores in it. We don't know.
That's the type of game I want to see on home ice for the Avs right now. Actual scoring, would really like to see. You'll see in a minute. My bet is Devon Taves, but for the Avs forward core, would really, really like to see that depth production continue a little bit. I'm going to mix it up. I know Kelly and Colton have been going well. I'll take Jack Drury to get on board as well. So
that's my feel-good answer.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just want to see the good things keep rolling and the bad things stay away. Hockey's that simple. We do have my pregame picks presented by Bet365, where things are never ordinary. I mentioned the Taves goal, anytime plus 800. Pretty good money there. The Avs are also plus money to cover. So no matter which one of our scores you're going with, that would cover. Plus 125 for the Avs. And
I think if they're getting 17 goals,
yeah,
you're pretty safe.
Wonder what kind of value you can get on Avs minus 14.5.
That might be, we're not even taking the bet because if you're betting that, something's up.
They just immediately call a hotline.
Yeah, right. And then I am taking the power play to break through and get one. They're going to need the power play if they're getting to 17 goals in the game. MacKinnon is plus money on the power play. That's how bad it has gotten for the Avs on the power play. Even Nathan MacKinnon is getting plus money there.
Ouch.
Sometimes you just got to take the good money.
Yep.
Whatever you're betting on.
I mean, just in principle, you should, like, if you're a big bettor and you have any type of system, MacKinnon power play point, that's inherently good value.
Whatever you bet on, make sure you do it with Bet365. When you gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. We are going to get out of here because it's a takeover day. We're going to the game. It's going to be a blast. There's still one takeover left this year. If you want to join us, it's like early in March, I think. One of the early March games. You can still get tickets to that. Come have a blast with us. For this one, for Bailey, for J. Mike, this has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, and we will see you postgame.
We all silly like the mayor.